20th century, wrote that nobody understands quanta. But this is what science is all about, exploring new ways of conceptualizing the world, at times radically new. It is the capacity to constantly call our concepts into question, the visionary force of a rebellious, critical spirit, capable of modifying its own conceptual basis, capable of redesigning our world from scratch. If the strangeness of quantum theory confuses us, it also opens new perspectives with which to understand reality, a reality that is more subtle than the simplistic materialism of particles in space, a reality made up of relations rather than objects. The theory suggests new directions in which to rethink great questions, from the structure of reality to the nature of experience, from metaphysics to perhaps even the very nature of consciousness. Today, this is all a matter of the liveliest debate among scientists and among philosophers. I speak about it all in the following pages. On the island of Helgoland, barren, extreme, battered by the winds of the north, Werner Heisenberg lifted a veil. An abyss opened. The story that this book has to tell starts from the island where Heisenberg conceived the germ of his idea and progressively widens to take in ever bigger questions opened by the discovery of the quantum structure of reality. I have written this book primarily for those who are unfamiliar with quantum physics and are interested in trying to understand, as far as any of us can, what it is and what it implies. I have sought to be as concise as possible, omitting every detail that is not essential to grasping the heart of the issue. I have tried to be as clear as possible about a theory that is at the center of the obscurity of science. Perhaps rather than explaining how to understand quantum mechanics, I explain why it is so difficult to understand. But I have also written it thinking of my colleagues, scientists and philosophers, who, the more they delve into the theory, the more they are perplexed, to continue the ongoing conversation on the significance of this astonishing physics. The book has notes intended for those who are familiar with quantum mechanics. They add a bit of precision to what I try to say in a more readable form in the text. The objective of my research in theoretical physics has been to understand the quantum nature of space and time, to make quantum theory cohere with Einstein's discoveries. For this, I have found myself thinking continually about quanta. This book represents where I have got to so far. It does not ignore other opinions, but it is shamelessly partisan, centered on the perspective that I consider the most effective, and I think opens up the most interesting paths, the relational interpretation of quantum theory. A warning before we begin. The abyss of what we do not know is always magnetic and vertiginous, but to take quantum mechanics seriously, reflecting on its implications, is an almost psychedelic experience. It asks us to renounce, in one way or another, something that we cherished as solid and untouchable in our understanding of the world. We are asked to accept that reality may be profoundly other than we had imagined, to look into the abyss without fear of sinking into the unfathomable. Lisbon, Marseille, Verona, London, Ontario, 2019-20. Part 1. 1. Looking into a strangely beautiful interior. How a young German physicist arrived at an idea that was very strange indeed, but described the world remarkably well, and the great confusion that followed. The absurd idea of the young Heisenberg. Observables. It was around 3 o'clock in the morning, when the final results of my calculations were before me. I felt profoundly shaken. I was so agitated that I could not sleep. I left the house and began walking slowly in the dark. I climbed on a rock overlooking the sea at the tip of the island and waited for the sun to come up. I have often wondered what the thoughts and emotions of the young Heisenberg must have been as he clambered over that rock overlooking the sea on the barren and wind-battered North Sea island.